When the civilized world forgets how to fight, when tradition becomes museum display, one man looked backward to move forward. This is the story of a warrior who refused to bow. Sayokan, the warrior's path and blood. March 18, 1999. A quiet declaration that would shake the foundations of modern martial arts. In a world dominated by Eastern philosophies, Japanese karate, Korean taekwondo, Chinese kung fu, one question burned in the mind of a Turkish martial artist. Where were the warriors of the steppes? Where were the ghosts of the Ottoman janissaries? Where was the blood of Turkic horsemen who conquered empires? His name was Nihat Yiğit, and he was about to resurrect what the world had forgotten. For centuries, the warriors of Central Asia and the Ottoman Empire were feared, not because they were brutal, but because they were adaptable, strategic, unpredictable. They didn't fight with rigid forms. They fought with intelligence. But somewhere between the fall of empires and the rise of the modern world, these arts vanished, not destroyed, just forgotten. Nihat Yiğit, born June 4, 1961, Salili, Manisa Province, Turkey. In his veins flowed the blood of the Alpsar clan, a lineage traced back to the Oghuz Turks. Warriors, nomads, survivors. But young Nihat didn't know his destiny yet. At 12 years old, in 1973, he began walking a path. Taekwondo, then Shaolin Kung Fu, Kyokushin Karate, Ashihara Karate. Year after year, belt after belt, technique after technique, he mastered them all. But mastery brought no peace. Because with every form he learned, with every kata he perfected, a question haunted him. Why am I learning someone else's way of war? 1990. Nihat Yiğit made a decision that would change his life. He traveled to Japan, then China, then Korea. Not as a student this time, but as an investigator. For 4 years, he studied. He analyzed. He questioned. What made these arts work, he asked. What principles transcend culture? What movements are universal to combat? And then, the deeper question. What did my ancestors know that the world has forgotten? The elite warriors who held an empire together for 6 centuries. He researched Central Asian warrior traditions. The horsemen who swept across continents. Who fought, not with rigid technique, but with adaptation. And slowly, painfully, brilliantly, a vision began to form. March 18, 1999, the day Nihat Yiğit stood before the martial arts world and made his declaration. I am leaving Eastern martial arts. I am creating something new, something old, something ours. Buzz at Boru Sayokan, Savasinin Yolu V. Kani. The warrior's path and blood. Not a pretty name, not a safe name, a name that spoke of sacrifice, of heritage, of truth. But what was Sayokan? Listen carefully, because what Yiğit created wasn't just another martial art. It was a philosophy, a rebellion. He looked at the traditional martial arts he'd mastered and saw their weakness: memorization, rigid forms, techniques practiced 10,000 times, but useless when chaos strikes. Because real violence doesn't follow a script. Real attackers don't wait for you to remember technique 17. Real danger demands adaptation. So Yiğit stripped it all away. No more memorization. No more rigid kata. No more pretending the dojo is the street. Instead, he taught principles, strategy, intelligence. Twist your core and generate power from your center. Understand angles and make geometry your weapon. Control distance and turn space into armor. Read overextension and use the enemy's strength against them. Ottoman strikes merged with Central Asian grappling. The aggressive precision of the janissaries, combined with the flowing adaptability of steppe warriors. Eastern technique, Western strategy, Turkish soul. Here's what separates Sayokan from everything else. Most martial arts ask, what technique should I use? Sayokan asks, why should I use any technique at all? Think about it. You spend years memorizing hundreds of techniques, forms, combinations, sequences. Then reality hits. An attacker doesn't move like your training partner. There's no referee, no rules, no time to think. And in that moment, all those memorized techniques freeze. Because your brain can't process fast enough, can't choose between option A, B, C, or D, while your body needs to move now. Sayokan understands this. It doesn't teach you 300 techniques. It teaches you 10 strategic concepts. And those concepts work for everything. Against one attacker, against multiple attackers, armed, unarmed, standing, on the ground. Because strategy is universal, technique is specific, and in chaos, universal wins. This is the natural way of moving. Your body already knows how to fight. Millions of years of evolution built violence into your DNA. Sayokan doesn't create that. It liberates it. It removes the chains of memorization and lets your warrior instinct breathe. Sayokan is two paths, Alagan and Basagar. Let's talk about Alagan first. The Basagar games, the games of bravery. This is not point sparring. This is not tag. 5 minutes. Full contact. No pads. No gloves. No points. You knock your opponent down, or you get knocked down. Knees to the head allowed. Kicks to the skull allowed. Grappling, throws, takedowns allowed. But punches to the face, elbows, headbutts, forbidden. Why? Because Sayokan respects the warrior code. Power, yes. Technique, yes. But honor, always. Fights happen on grass. Like the steppes. Like the battlefields of old. Not in a cage. Not on padded mats. On earth, where warriors have always settled their disputes. And if you fight to a draw? 3-minute rest. Then 5 more minutes. First technique that lands wins everything. Golden point. One strike. Victory or defeat. There is no hiding in sudden death. Now, Basagar. This is the real Sayokan. 108 hours. That's all it takes. Not years. Not decades. 108 hours. To learn to survive. Because Basagar isn't about mastery. It's about survival. Against bigger opponents. Against armed attackers. Against multiple threats. It's used by security forces, police, military personnel, anyone who needs to end violence. Quickly, efficiently, ethically. Because Sayokan understands something profound. Self-defense isn't about domination. It's about restoration. You defend yourself. To restore balance. To restore peace. Not to prove you're stronger, but to prove you won't be a victim. 2005. Nihat Yiğit founded the Sayokan World Federation, Turkey's first independent martial arts federation. From Turkey to India, from Europe to Southeast Asia, the warrior's path began to spread. And in September 2025, the Turkish government officially recognized Sayokan, not as a hobby, not as a sport, as a national treasure. The first Turkish martial art to receive official government support. Yiğit now holds the title Yabgut, Supreme Leader, an ancient Turkic title for an ancient warrior spirit living in the modern world. But here's what matters. Sayokan isn't just about Turkey. It isn't just about heritage. It's about a principle that your fighting system should serve you, not the other way around. That strategy beats memorization. That adaptation beats rigidity. That intelligence beats brute force. And that every culture, every nation, every warrior tradition deserves to be remembered. Today, Sayokan continues to grow in competitions across continents, in security forces around the world, in the hearts of warriors who refuse to forget. Because Nihat Yiğit didn't just create a martial art, he created a reminder that the warrior's path is never truly lost. It just waits, patiently, for someone brave enough to walk it again. So what is Sayokan? It's not the next MMA trend. It's not another belt factory. Sayokan is a question. What if we stopped borrowing our strength? What if we looked inside ourselves? What if we remembered who we really are? For the Turks, it's about Ottoman warriors and Central Asian horsemen. But for you? It's about your heritage, your strength, your warrior spirit, because every single one of us comes from warriors, farmers who defended their land, mothers who protected their children, fathers who stood against tyranny. That blood runs through your veins, right now. Sayokan is just one man's answer to that calling. What's yours? Savasinin Yolu V. Kani. The warrior's path and blood. May you walk it with honor.